Hi everyone, this is Ronick Fru again. We're going to be looking into lab number 6 for the networks and infrastructure course. We're going to be focusing on HTTP packet analysis. Hang tight while it loads. The objectives of this lab are pretty straightforward. We're going to be using Wireshark to filter and analyze HTTP packets, assess the GET request to identify potential malicious system usage, document suspicious employee activity. I'm going to go through and read the scenario. The head of your corporation's physical security team has come to you with concerns about one of the members of the software development team. The security head has noticed strange entrance and exit times by the software development team member and believes it may be an indicator of potential misconduct. She has asked you to look over some of the suspect employees' traffic for any unusual activity, specifically any unusual search engine searches. This is kind of like an attempt to prevent data loss. Okay, if you haven't gone through this lab before, please, I do advise you to watch the video. Let's begin the lab. Before we proceed with the lab, an example of this could happen. You have an employee that is disgruntled and they know that they're going to leave the company and they don't want to lose. They want to be in a win-win situation. They might start putting things together on how to, to sell company secret. So they might be trying to research on how to collect that company's secrets and be able to email it to rival companies in an undisclosed manner, using Trojan horses and stuff like that. And there are other sorts of ways in which data can be exfiltrated illegally from the company without being visible. Okay, so step one, we're going to log into Akali. The username and password is on there. We can follow suit. Put the enter key. That's it for step one. So step two, we're about to go ahead and open the command line interface, or we call it a terminal. Okay, for this lab, for purposes of this lab, the PCAP Wireshark data is captured and stored on the desktop. So that's what we're going to be using for this lab. So we're going to go ahead and run the command and pull this data into our Wireshark. Okay, step two, I'm just going to check it out while I type. So we're going to do Wireshark space. Document is on the desktop. Call it from the desktop. And we enter the document's name. We can go ahead and type it. Sample. The PCAP space ampersand. So the enter key. Okay. Wireshark is up and running the captured file. Step 3 gives us details and a description of the various sections on the Wireshark. So the very first pane here, you see it's called the packet list. So it lists all the traffics that Wireshark captured. These are all the traffics. The middle pane is called the packet details. So every time you click on a traffic, the information on both the middle pane and the hex pane changes. If you can notice, every time you click. So the middle pane section is expandable. Click the plus signs. It's expandable and contain more information about each of these packets. The last pane is called the hex pane. It provides a look at the packets on the most fundamental hexadecimal level. Every information on your accounts, those numbers, they do. It has information that are very, very vital for deep packet inspections. Okay, I'm going to move to step number 4. Step number 4 is requiring us to go to the filter field and be able to find all HTTP traffics that are affiliated to this IP address 192.168.2.204, presumed to be the suspect employee's device. So we're going to pull all the traffics that have been to and fro that employee's device by using the IP address that interface to that device. And that is the information that we're going to log in to capture that data. So we're going to go ahead and type HTTP space space IP dot address. So we're calling all traffics that are tied to that IP address. All HTTP traffics that are tied to that IP address. 192.168.2.204. So you can either press the enter key or you can either do the arrow. So as you can notice, when we were typing or entering this information to filter, this search field was red. But once we complete it, it turns green. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and either click or I press the enter key. Okay, so now we have a display of all the HTTP. You can look at the protocol column. Display of all the HTTP traffics or packets from that specific IP address 204. You can expand and know the details or find detailed information of every packet that is listed on that packet list. Step 5 says now that you're displaying only the HTTP packets from a specific IP address in Wireshark, you can export these packets to a specific PCAP file for future review. Okay, let's follow this process or this walkthrough and save it. So we're going to do File, Export Specified Packets. That's step 5. And step 6 is telling us how we're going to name it and save it on the desktop. We're going to go ahead. We're already in the desktop. You can see Home, Kali, Desktop. We're going to enter the required name. Employee underscore http.pcap. That's it. So we're going to go ahead and save. Double check. Okay, there we go. So that packet has been saved on the desktop. as required. Step number 7 says GET requests are typically used to obtain information from another server. Yep. So on this packet list, there are a couple of those packet lists that have, when you look at the information, that have the GET, G-E-T, all uppercases. That's what they call the GET request. It's kind of like you go to Google, you type something. That action that is done on Google search, where you type something and you press the enter key, you actually asking the web server for an information. That's called a GET request. Okay, so it's saying that many GET requests are used when visiting a website through a browser, like I explained. They get the content from the web server so it can be displayed in your browser. So we're going to apply this to filter just the GET request. So we're going to come back. Just need to clear out the very first 2 letters. Okay. So we're going to do the IP space ampersand ampersand space HTTP dot request dot method, looking for the method that is used, ampersand ampersand get. I'm going to come back here and do this. And double check. Just double checking. Oh, okay, there we go. I'm going to press the enter key. There we go. So we've seen the GET request. So what we have right now is just the HTTP GET request. Okay. Step number 8 is requiring us to go ahead and export those GET requests. File, export specified package. And step 9 is telling us how to save it. So we're going to save it as employee underscore get request.pcap. Okay, gonna go ahead and save it. Step number 10, after doing some quick analysis of the filter output, you'll notice there is a specific recurrent string for such request. Of course, if you scroll down, pull this a little bit further right. So if you scroll through this manually, you can see that. See that? The search. Solid company IP. The information is detailed on that. So this is produced when a user is searching for something on an engine like Google or Bing. I mentioned that earlier. Filter for this string to produce all of the search queries this user used by adding the frame. So we're going to add this on our already existing command to filter just requests, HTTP GET requests that are specific or that are that contain the search question sign Q on there. So we're going to come back on our Wireshark. Just take a look and make sure that I'm doing the right thing here. Okay. Gonna do the ampersand. Frame. So it's gonna be looking at the frames that contains the search question sign Q. Close that up. Okay, there we go. So we're gonna go ahead and do the search. Press the enter key. Okay, there we go. Step 11 requires us to export and save that as well on the desktop. So we're going to go ahead and click File, Export Specified Packet, and we're going to name it this time employee underscore search dot pcap. Do the save. Okay. Step 12 says, hey, let's get back to Wireshark and give it a closer look. So closer look would mean you click on every one of these packets and you expand on the frame and look at it. You expand on the Ethernet and look at it, the destination, address, source. You can look at the various flags if you want to. Just depending on what you're looking at. For purposes of this lab, we're going to be looking at the hypertext transfer protocol to see what is actually in that traffic. What data are they searching for or receiving back from the search? That's going to be of interest for purposes of this lab. Okay, so 13 says, then in the packet details pane, expand the hypertext transfer protocol section. So that's it. It's already expanded. Let me close it and expand it again. I'm going to go ahead. There we go. It's telling you, hey, did you notice the get request? That is it. Yeah, we don't notice it. We didn't notice it. Did you notice the information on it which says how to sell secrets? Absolutely. This definitely is a suspicious activity for an employee in a company that excels because they have trade secrets that needs to be protected. And that's through the Bing. That's the host. Okay. So step number 14 says, let's go ahead and open a new terminal by clicking File, New tab. So we're going to come back on this Kali Linux terminal. We're going to go to File. We're going to click on New tab. And then step 15 says, create a text file called suspicious underscore searches.txt on the desktop. And that's the command we're going to use. So we're going to create a text file by calling the nano command. Nano. We want that file to be on the desktop. So we're going to specify the desktop. And we want the file name to be suspicious underscore searches.txt. Enter. Okay. Now the text file is opened. We're not going to close it until we're done capturing all the suspicious activities and entering the information here and save it later for usage. Step number 16 says, record the suspicious search in the file by entering the following. So our very first suspicious activity was the one we found on the GET request and how to sell secrets. So we're going to go ahead and enter. We're going to title that, or we're going to start by saying suspicious. We're going to define exactly what we're documenting. Suspicious Bing searches made by employee. I'm going to come, I'm going to go. The very first is how to sell secrets. We're not going to close it for now because it's not done. We are not done. So we're going to go back. We're going to leave it open. And we're going to return to Wireshark. Step 18 is requiring us to check on packet number 1138. So if you look in this column, it says number. So this is going to be our focus. So we're going to be scrolling and looking. Packet 1138. There you are. So we're going to highlight our packet. And what does it tell us? It says, hey, look very carefully. You're going to see another search that says sell a company IP. So we're going to come to the hypertext transfer protocol. We'll look at the GET request search. That's it. Sell a company. It says, hey, let's close Wireshark. We're going to go ahead. We're going to go ahead and close Wireshark. And then we're going to come back to, we're going to go to the next line. We're going to type what activity we saw, right? Which is sell a company. So we'll document it. Step 20 says we're going to go ahead and press Control O, right? Control O is kind of like right out. We're going to do Control O. And then we're going to press the Enter key. And then we're going to close this nano by pressing the Control X. That brings us back to our terminal. 21 says, hey, let's double click on that file that we saved and ensure that the file was captured and saved with all the data that we intend to save. I'm going to double click it, open. That's it. How to sell secrets and sell a company. Oh, company IP. Correct that. That was my bad. Save the changes. Okay. So that is it. And 22 says close both terminal windows and Wireshark. We're going to go ahead and close this and close this. I think we've come to the end of lab number 6. I'm not quite sure if you're going to be tested on this but it is very important for purposes of better understanding of the networks and infrastructure, on how traffics are being captured. They didn't show us how traffics are captured because there's already PCAP captured file, but how captured traffics can be filtered and look through to kind of pick out informations that are very pertinent from a search. I'm going to go ahead and submit this for grading. Thank you.